What are the Abrahamic religions? The Abrahamic religions are those faith-filled traditions which trace their origins directly back to the biblical patriarch Abraham or Abram, with whom the God of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam entered into a covenant or special relationship. While these three traditions are commonly known as the Abrahamic religions, there are other smaller faiths who also trace their origins to the ancient patriarch Abraham and who therefore consider themselves Abrahamic. These include the Baha'i faith, Yazidism, Druzism, and even Rastafarianism. The three major Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, share a number of characteristics. Not only do all three trace the origins of their faith to the biblical patriarch Abraham, but each also has some doctrine of a coming Messiah, though they believe different things about who and what that Messiah will be. Each is monotheistic, though in somewhat different ways. They each see the Holy Land as having a special place in the tradition's history and future. Each of the three usually sees the other two faiths as an apostate version of their own, and thus all three perceive their own faith as the only accurate version of the Abrahamic faith which God parted the heavens and revealed to their specific people or prophet. When taken together, over half the world's population falls into one of the Abrahamic religions. Thus, historically speaking, there may be no other religious figure who's had a more widespread influence on the religious practice and beliefs of the inhabitants of the world. While Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad are more central to the three Abrahamic traditions, the patriarch Abraham unquestionably has had an impact that cannot be downplayed or ignored. Every prophet in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam explained. Adam was the first human created by God, who then formed Eve. They had a son named Seth, who continued the lineage after the tragic story of Cain and Abel. Enoch was a notable descendant, a man who was so close to God that he was taken to heaven without dying. Many generations later, Noah was instructed by God to build an ark to save his family and animals from a global flood. Shem, one of Noah's sons, survived this flood and became the ancestor of the Semitic people. In Islamic tradition, Hud and Saleh emerged as prophets, guiding people towards righteousness. Abraham then appeared on the scene, founding monotheism and becoming a father to many nations. His nephew Lot escaped the destruction of the sinful cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham's sons Ishmael, a prophet in Islam, and Isaac, a patriarch of Israel, carried on his lineage. Isaac's son Jacob fathered the 12 tribes of Israel, and his son Joseph rose to power in Egypt, facilitating the Israelite settlement in the region. Job, a man known for his patience and faith amidst suffering, and Jethro, a Midianite priest and Moses' father-in-law, are other important figures. Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt and received the 10 Commandments. Aaron, his brother, was his spokesperson and the first high priest of Israel. After their death, Joshua took over, leading the Israelites into the Promised Land. Samuel, a prophet, judge, and kingmaker of Israel, anointed the first 2 kings of Israel, Saul and David. David's son Solomon built the first temple in Jerusalem. A succession of prophets followed, including Elijah, who performed miracles and opposed idolatry, and Elisha, who received a double portion of Elijah's spirit and guided Israelites back to monotheism. Joel forewarned of coming judgment using the imagery of a locust plague, while Amos advocated for social justice, order, and righteousness. Jonah delivered a powerful message of repentance to the people of Nineveh, which they heeded, and Hosea demonstrated God's faithful love despite human infidelity. Isaiah prophesied about Israel's exile and future restoration due to God's mercy. Meanwhile, Micah foretold that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem in his stark and potent prophecy foretold the imminent downfall of Nineveh, and Zephaniah foretold the day of the Lord during the fall of Jerusalem. Jeremiah emerged as a significant prophet. He prophesied about the city's destruction and its restoration. Habakkuk dialogued with God about suffering, while Daniel interpreted dreams in Babylonian exile. Ezekiel was another prophet during the exile. His prophecies promised a hopeful future. Sometime later, Obadiah delivered stern prophecies against Edom, its longtime enemy, while Haggai passionately urged for the prompt restoration of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. Zechariah, the Hebrew prophet, encouraged Israel's return and the rebuilding of the temple. Malachi, the last Old Testament prophet, led the way to the intertestamental period. Zechariah, father of John the Baptist, ushered in the New Testament. John the Baptist prepared the way for Jesus, the central figure in Christianity, believed to be the Son of God. After Jesus, in Islamic tradition, Muhammad is considered the last prophet, having received revelations that formed the Quran. Those are all the recognized and known prophets in the Abrahamic religions. That's all for now. There will be many more interesting videos. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it.